Tim Kaine, who's apparently one of Hillary's favorites on the VP list, he's a finalist, and according to some sources, there may be only 2 people left on the VP list. He's in a little bit of hot water here, and he's in hot water for good reason. So Huffington Post explains, Senator Tim Kaine, he's a Democrat of Virginia, is on Hillary's short list of potential vice presidential nominees. He's also actively pushing bank deregulation this week as he campaigns for the job. Kaine signed 2 letters on Monday urging federal regulators to go easy on banks. One to help big banks dodge risk management rules, and another to help small banks avoid consumer protection standards. Okay, now when I first read this piece, at that line there, I said, okay, hold on, that's a 50-50 thing. So when he's trying to help big banks dodge risk management rules, that's inexcusable. There's no counter argument here. There's no argument that, no, he's right on that one. There should be, fewer risk management rules. No, that's simply a position of, I took big money from the banks and I'm going to do their bidding. There's no logical reason to go in that direction. But then the second one, I was like, well, maybe there's something defensible here, because again, it says he wants to help small banks avoid consumer protection standards. It's actually true. The dichotomy between small bank and big bank is actually true. Like, the small bank should have slightly different rules because it's harder for them to compete. And if you don't make it possible for them to compete, well, then the big banks just gobble them all up and we're right back to square one and we're worse off. So that was my initial reaction. But then upon reading further about this, coming to find out this morning, no, he doesn't mean actual small banks. What that really means is regional banks, which is what he defines as small banks. But even if the regional banks have $250 billion in assets, he's like, well, they shouldn't be subject to consumer protection standards. Oh, now you're just a slimy son of a bitch. That's what you are. And it also is worse than this, because they indicate that another thing he wants to do, he's of the Debbie Wasserman Schultz school of thought. Let's go easy on payday lenders, the predatory payday lenders that are basically legalized loan sharks. So there were other senators who signed this letter to crack down on payday lenders. They asked Tim Kaine if he wants to hop in it. He's like, I'll pass on that one. No, so you're just a scumbag. You're just, a total sellout corporatist Democrat who's just as bad as the Blue Dog Democrats, and you might as well be a fucking Republican. Oh, you sprinkle in a little bit of change on social issues, so we're all supposed to genuflect at your altar and say thank you for not being as stupid and crazy as Ted Cruz. Fuck you. Fuck you. And how dare Hillary Clinton, after pretending half the time she's more progressive than Bernie Sanders in the primary, now all of a sudden when it comes down to the finalists, again, this is according to some sources, so I should be clear about that, but it's between Tom Vilsack and Tim Kaine. You're probably thinking, who the fuck are these motherfuckers? Answer: center-right corporatist Democrats who are sellouts. This is their idea, the Clinton campaign's idea of moderate. Let's have some moderates, and let's try to reach out to people who never want to fucking vote for you anyway under any circumstance, and let's snub the base further. In fact, people who've been the biggest defenders of Hillary Clinton all along, like, for example, some of the writers on HuffPost, even they were writing headlines about Tim Kaine and Tom Vilsack when they thought it was down to just those two options of Hillary set to snub the base. So say fuck you to Bernie voters, fuck you to left independents, fuck you to millennials. I mean, if she does it, you're making your bed and you're going to have to sleep in it. You're going to make it a much closer race with Donald Trump if that's the direction that you go in. Now, just a final note of caution here. There is still an outside chance that she goes with somebody who's more progressive. Sherrod Brown, Elizabeth Warren, who was actually more involved in the process and was much higher on the list than I originally thought she was. So I originally thought there's literally a 0% chance that Elizabeth Warren is picked. But it appears like that wasn't true. There's actually a decent chance. They actually vetted her. She's been out on the campaign trail with Hillary. This is like the audition that everybody goes through. So we'll see. We'll see. According to one source, it's just between Vilsack and Kaine. According to other sources, no, Sherrod Brown's still involved, Elizabeth Warren, so on and so forth. So we'll see. But if she goes with Vilsack or Kaine, they haven't learned dick from this process, and they're poised to do their best to bungle the election.